And again, thanks for coming. So the title of this session is Today's Automation Systems Offer New Opportunities to Improve Business. And really this is something, in a lot of ways it's an age-old question in the process automation business. We all love technology, and many of us are engineers and technologists or geeks, of one stripe or another, but actually getting the business value out of technology can really be a challenge. And I think we have some really good examples of some case studies and some end users that are actually doing that, getting the business value out of the technology that they're implementing. And I do have a couple of slides just to kick off. If you look at the evolution of process automation systems over the years, we really have evolved from sort of a technology-centric view to a business-centric view. Back in the 80s, when we first had DCSs come out, they were very computer-centric. We moved to the system-centric decade of, the late 80s, early 90s. As we went into the 90s and the early 2000s, things were very application-centric. There was a lot of focus on applications. And as we moved into the 21st century, we see a lot more focus on other things, things like services, things like application knowledge, really things that are designed to get more business value out of the system and using the system to help your business adapt, to changing conditions in the marketplace. So that's what this session is about today. It's also about, I think in some ways, the industrial Internet of Things. And I say industrial Internet of Things because it's a little bit different from the Internet of Things, right? There's some pretty unique requirements for industry, that are a little bit different from the regular Internet of Things. And another term that's used to refer to the Internet of Things is CyberPhysical Systems. I personally really like that term, CyberPhysical Systems. I think George used that term too in his presentation. We've moved from this mainframe computing, kind of parallel to what we did with process automation systems. In the 60s and 70s, we had mainframe computing that was very monolithic. And then the 80s and 90s, we had desktop computing and we had the birth of the Internet. And computing was ubiquitous. Everybody had a computer on their desk. And now in the 2000s, we've moved to this age of truly ubiquitous computing where we have, intelligence in just about everything. And that's really what's leading up to this Internet of Things, where basically, everything is connected to everything else in some way. Which can be good for some things, but again, for industrial applications, we sort of have our own set of requirements. We have things like security, we have things like critical process control that we have to deal with. That are unique requirements for our application space and our industry. But to me, cyber-physical systems means that everything is connected. As Andy mentioned earlier today, if you look at the automation space, we were sort of probably the first ones to really enter this age of cyber-physical systems and Internet of Things, because intelligent field devices have been around for 20, 30 years now. We've had heart devices and foundation field devices. So we've had this sort of digital window into what's happening in our process for a very long time. But I think really it's only now that we're really starting to figure out what to do with this technology and how to use it effectively and really understanding how this is having an impact on our business. So what does this mean for process automation? Obviously field devices are computers now. They become fairly powerful computers unto themselves. And as a result of this and other things, we've seen the old hierarchy collapsing. And this is one of the main things that's driven the formation of what we did at ARC, our collaborative process automation system model, where, as you can see, things are kind of collapsing, right? The old hierarchy of devices and control systems, the old Purdue, level 0, level 1, level 2 model is kind of collapsing in on itself to where we have basically one big system where everything's connected and everything's being fed up to the business system. This doesn't automatically mean that it's a good thing, right? I mean, information is only so good as what you can do with it. It's only as good as how you use it to help improve your business. So we have CPaaS and we have all this wonderful technology and all this state-of-the-art technology today. Not just intelligent field devices, but all these application servers. We have very advanced visualization technology, developing knowledge workers. We have automated procedures. We have even more technology today than we've ever had before, and this is sort of a list of what's state of the art today. But it's really in how we use it, to me, that's the important thing. And these are some of the primary challenges that we have for process automation system end users today. You've heard a little bit of this earlier from Sandy. You know, projects are becoming a lot larger, a lot more complex, record-breaking projects in terms of size, scope, the different parties that you have to deal with to make the project successful. We have to train new workers, particularly if you're doing a large capital project in a developing region like Asia or South America. You have to bring in those workers and train them and get them up to speed on what's going on in the plant. When you start the plant up, you know, you want to be at a level of operational readiness where you're not going to have an unplanned shutdown. You can immediately, you know, keep the plant running and keep things running at 100% right off the bat. Information handover is a challenge, right? After you build the plant, you know, how does that information get handed over to the people that are actually going to run the plant, you know, throughout the life cycle of that plant? Unplanned downtime is still a huge issue. Still accounts for about 5% of total production in the process industries, billions and billions of dollars lost in unplanned downtime. Migration to modernization is huge, and we're going to see, I think, a couple of examples of that here today, where users are dealing with this very old installed base of control systems that they have that are 20 to 30 years old and must be modernized somehow, usually in a phased approach, and we'll hear more about that. Work processes, which we also heard in the last session. You know, there's a lot of old entrenched work processes in the process industries. You know, if you look at the way a lot of things are done in the industry today, they really haven't changed that much over the past 30, 40, or even 50 years. You know, things like preventive maintenance routines and so forth. So there's changes happening in the work processes as well. And I think if you look in the developed world, like North America and Western Europe, we have a great loss of human capital. You know, we're losing our most skilled workers. In a lot of cases, the knowledge that they have is leaving with them. So we need to find a way to capture that knowledge and put it in the system and be able to reuse it consistently so everybody has access to it. We have a lot of stranded diagnostics, which we also heard from Sandy. We have a huge install base of intelligent devices out there that really aren't connected in any meaningful way to the process automation system where people can actually avail themselves of that data, you know, and create a better maintenance strategy or reduce unplanned downtime. So there's a lot of information that's just kind of sitting there that we're not using. And probably the biggest one in terms of dollars, you know, for projects to me is custom integration costs, which was also mentioned by Sandy this morning and by other users as well. We are spending billions of dollars trying to get stuff to talk to each other, trying to integrate these various islands of automation that are out there and get them to work together. That's still an issue in this industry. So that's my brief introduction to what's going on today.